authority to damage or destroy anything that isn't an autonomous drone. Keep that authority back here with a person in the loop.
Okay.
But it's the fighter jet era has passed.
Over the past couple of years, it's felt like political tensions have been particularly high. With war in Ukraine and tensions rising between China and Taiwan, we've seen a surge in demand for military supplies. Governments around the world have been looking beyond current technology in the hopes of creating an unstoppable force. And the Skyborg program is the United States Air Force effort to do that. Now, when I first heard about this program, I immediately thought of images of Skynet, the AI-controlled force made famous by the Terminator franchise, which was a pretty scary thing to think about. But it's a little bit different to that. It's also poised to be the next major breakthrough in air combat. Now, I don't know about you, but I think it's crazy to see how much air technology has advanced over the years. It was only in 1903 that the Wright brothers made their first flight in North Carolina. A flight that lasted a mere 12 seconds, but changed the way humans travel forever. In 1909, planes were first used in combat, and since then we've seen some iconic advancements. The Harrier jet was the world's first operationally successful vertical short takeoff and landing aircraft. Introduced in the 1960s, its ability to hover like a helicopter and blast off from limited spaces redefined what was possible in modern warfare. The iconic F-14 Tomcat, known to many from Hollywood fame, was much more than just a movie star. Its variable sweep wing design allowed for superior agility and speed, while its advanced radar and long-range missiles made it a formidable interceptor in the Cold War skies. The B-2 bomber brought with it next-level stealth technology. Entering service in the 1990s, its flying wing design minimized radar detection. Combined with its ability to carry large payloads over intercontinental ranges, the B-2 heralded a new age of strategic bombing without detection. The dawn of the 21st century saw the birth of the F-22 Raptor. A fifth-generation fighter, the Raptor's unmatched speed, agility, and stealth features made it an air superiority legend. It was not just a jet, it was a technological leap, bridging past prowess and future potential. And more recently, drawing from its predecessors, the F-35 Lightning II encapsulates multi-role versatility, combining stealth, cutting-edge avionics, and sensor fusion. It's not just a fighter, bomber, or recon plane, it's all of them in one package, representing the pinnacle of decades of aerial evolution. But the US Air Force currently has a big problem. The F-35 program is really expensive. Now we know the US military has the best funding in the world, but still, each plane costs $100 million to make. The program has cost $1 trillion in total, which is 70% over budget. They need another solution, and this is where the Skyborg program comes in. The program is one of 3 in the Vanguard initiative by the US Air Force to improve its combat capabilities. But the Skyborg program is focusing on harnessing the possibilities that artificial intelligence offers. The Air Force understands that AI is here to stay, and is deciding to embrace it instead of stall and find themselves lagging behind. As a result, the Air Force Research Laboratory, which is the scientific research arm of the US Air Force, has been tinkering with strategies for integrating AI solutions into air combat. Typically, when the Air Force decides to do something like this, it buys a few new and more advanced aircrafts that can last for decades, and it is still taking this route with the other programs in its Vanguard initiative. However, they're doing things slightly differently with the Skyborg program. Instead of buying or developing things that are reusable and long-lasting, the Skyborg program is producing vehicles that are expendable. This means they are designing the new aircraft to be cheap, so that if they are lost or destroyed, it doesn't cause a major hole in the Air Force's budget. Now, this is not to say that there isn't a lot of money going into this program. The concept of integrating AI into aviation is still relatively new, so the program itself is quite expensive. However, the vehicles that would be produced are not supposed to be, especially compared to how much money and resources the military has at its disposal. That said, what exactly is the Skyborg program about? From what has been said, it is obvious that the Skyborg program is basically the USAF's attempt at improving its combat capabilities and extending its operational reach by taking advantage of artificial intelligence. The goal of Skyborg is to create a fleet of unmanned combat aerial vehicles, or UCAVs, that can be controlled remotely by manned aircraft, such as F-22s. With these UCAVs, the USAF would be able to penetrate airspaces that are typically too dangerous to send humans to. Bear in mind that these UCAVs are not being developed to completely replace human pilots, at least not yet. According to Air Force Secretary Frank Kendall, the unmanned aircrafts would fly alongside manned aircrafts, basically serving as wingmen. The UCAVs would be able to fly and work in terrains that their manned buddies dare not approach, but they will remain connected to their manned wingmen the entire time. This significantly cuts down costs for the USAF, partly because fewer pilots would be needed on certain operations, but also because, as was mentioned earlier, these vehicles are being designed to be expendable. The hope is that the money saved would be channeled towards reducing US debt levels, but most likely all the saved money would be used for other military-related endeavors. Anyway, how exactly does the Skyborg program work? To start with, the UCAVs are being designed to always work in tandem with manned aircrafts in a team. Whoever is responsible for the manned aircrafts would also be responsible for programming the UCAVs with rules of engagement before the team takes flight. And then, the embedded complex algorithms and sensors would enable the UCAVs to make intelligent decisions based on those rules of engagement. One of the roles of the UCAVs as part of a team of manned and unmanned aircrafts is to accurately detect any potential threats both in the air and on the ground. They are also supposed to, more accurately than a human would, determine how close the threat is, help the human fighters prioritize if there are more than one potential threats, and also quickly and helpfully come up with solutions. So, if used properly, these UCAVs could quite literally save the lives of military pilots, which could change the scene of combat and war drastically. Of course, the playing field would be evened out if all sides have their own version of AI-powered vehicles, but that's a story for another video. For this video, it's awesome to think about how much safer and efficient military pilots would be with Skyborg UCAVs on their team. This is possible thanks to their AI intelligence. The autonomy of these UCAVs does not only mean that they can fly themselves, it also means that they can work, to a certain extent, independently of human intervention. And I say to an extent because while they won't be operated by humans while in flight, they are to remain connected to their manned wingmen, as I mentioned earlier. In fact, it is important for these UCAVs to remain linked to their manned teammates and to remain on course with them. The kind of situations where these UCAVs are used is so sensitive that any deviation from course could be fatal for a lot of people. This is why field tests are being carried out at different stages of the development to ensure that the algorithms are accurate and the UCAVs don't go rogue and start doing their own thing. Something else to note about the Skyborg program is that it is based on the concept of plug and play. What this means is that the UCAVs are being designed to be easily adaptable to a multitude of situations, basically to be ready to go without too much change. Adaptability is a big part of the program, and the idea is to make it possible to switch a UCAV's mission quickly and seamlessly. It should be easy for a UCAV that is currently on an intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance mission, for instance, to be quickly switched to electronic attacks and strikes at the drop of a hat, and without doing damage to the mission that it was on. That quick thinking and action could be the difference between the side that wins and the side that loses, and the possibilities for combat are endless. At this point, I think it is important to differentiate between the remotely piloted aircrafts, or RPAs, that we have now, and UCAVs that are being created with the Skyborg program. While RPAs are unmanned, they are still actively controlled by humans, albeit remotely. That is, a human or a team of humans has to actively control an RPA while in flight or use. On the other hand, a Skyborg UCAV is supposed to be autonomous, free of human control. The head of Air Combat Command, General James Mike Holmes, explained the difference, saying that for the UCAVs, we'll give it goals and we'll tell it about its operating environment. We'll prioritize targets and actions for it, and through machine learning, we'll teach it to make more decisions on its own. At this point, if you have watched our video on insane AI agents, you might start to wonder about the implications of using aircrafts that are autonomous and can make their own decisions, bearing in mind that, as I mentioned earlier, UCAVs are typically used in sensitive situations where rogue machines could be very disastrous. One can only hope that the many tests that are being carried out would cancel out the possibility of a UCAV going on to do its own thing, that the developers would figure out a way to make sure that no UCAV ever goes rogue and turns on its manned teammates. But I'd like to hear your thoughts on this in the comments section below. Meanwhile, while the Skyborg program is still largely in development, the first test has already taken flight. The first Skyborg test flight happened in May 2021, aboard a Kratos UTAP-22 Mako tactical unmanned vehicle at Tyndall Air Force Base in Florida, and according to the USAF, the test went well, with the vehicle responding to navigational commands and showing basic aviation capabilities. That test flew just one aircraft though, which means that there is still a long way to go before the AI-powered system would be ready to be used in actual combat. But more tests have already been scheduled for the near future, involving multiple Skyborg UCAVs flying and working in tandem. And with the success of those tests, would come tests that involve Skyborg aircrafts flying together with human pilots. Developments are still ongoing though, and companies including Boeing, General Atomics, Kratos Unmanned Aerial Systems, and Northrop Grumman have been awarded contracts to integrate Skyborg into upcoming UAVs that are currently in the works. Other companies like AeroVironment, Autonomy, BAE System Controls have been tasked with continuing development on the software end of things. Beyond its immediate impact on the battlefield though, the Skyborg program represents a significant step forward in AI integration across various sectors. The technological advancements made in autonomous flight, sensor fusion, and decision-making algorithms have broader applications beyond military aviation. These advancements could influence fields such as commercial aviation, transportation, and even disaster response, where AI-driven autonomous systems could augment human capabilities and enhance overall efficiency and safety. All in all, there's no denying that the Skyborg program is a bold and ambitious undertaking. Integrating aircrafts that are not just unmanned but also autonomous is a big step in aviation and combat, but the program might just be bold and ambitious enough to be successful. And if it is successful, it could revolutionize air warfare and give the USAF a decisive edge over its adversaries. The future of air warfare is bright, and the Skyborg program is leading the way. If you enjoyed this video, you might enjoy some of the other videos on this channel, so consider checking them out. Also, don't forget to leave a like, share this video, and subscribe to the Tectonic Shift channel for more videos.